Hey guys, Breno here, and I know what this looks like, but I swear I haven't been kicked out. I'm not sleeping in the shed in the doghouse this time. In actuality, we've just come back from an epic trip down to the Victorian high country. Now, the last couple of days the weather did turn. The last night we did camp in rain and we packed everything away wet. So, spent a couple of hours cleaning everything and I'm drying everything. I thought, what a perfect opportunity to take you for a walk through our D-Max, show you the ins and outs of it, how we've set it up, talk about a couple of the different incarnations that we've had with this vehicle, because there's been quite a few, and show you what makes it such a great home on wheels for us. Let's take a look. Okay, so first, let's talk four-wheel drive gear. What are we running in terms of tyres, suspension, etc. on the D-Max? Well, 2-inch lift, it's an Oztech suspension lift. Big shout out to Jamie and the boys up at Oztech. They're the same guys who do the suspension for our MT1 and MT2 camper trailers, and I can't rave about this stuff highly enough. It is such an improvement over the old stuff that was in it. It was rock hard. This stuff gives you a good lift and it rides really nicely. And to complement that 2-inch lift, we're running some little tiny bit bigger than standard tyres. We're running the Falken Wild Peaks in a 265/75/16. It's about a 32-inch tyre in the old money. It is not an insane setup. It's definitely still legal, which is a massive plus for us. A huge plus as well is the fact that it cruises down the road just as well as it hits the low range track. So it's a really nice overall combination. Now up front, pretty standard aftermarket steel bull bar. In it, we've packed a Dominator X winch and a set of the 9-inch Dominator lights. Again, this ute has to pretty much do everything for us. It's got to do long dirt roads, it's got to do even longer highway distances, and it's got to do those tough low-range tracks to get to those epic campsites, and often it's towing too. So that right there is the perfect setup in terms of four-wheel drive gear. Now, before we get into all the customized stuff that we've done to the ute in its current setup, let me tell you about its previous couple of iterations. We've had this ute since new. It was a bog standard dual cab ute when we first bought it. In fact, the very first modifications were nothing more than a roof rack and a nice, simple pull-out king side awning. Now that setup there, it's simple, it's easy, it works. However, like everyone, we are looking for better ways to organise our gear, carry our gear, and access our gear when we need it. So, one of the next setups that we put on the ute was a fiberglass ute canopy. That thing, along with some nice heavy-duty 150 kilo roof racks in the back, gave us a massive boost in terms of what we could carry in the back of the ute, what we could carry on top of the ute, and most importantly, what we could keep dry and dust-free in the back of the ute as well. And we ran that fiberglass canopy for a number of years. It was a really good setup. In the back, we had a perfect combination of a set of twin 1300 drawers, the universal wing kit, and then just put a battery box and a battery and a fridge on top. Really nice setup, and it's a really popular one for so many people because it just about does it all. You've got great storage inside the Titan drawers, you've got your electrics, you've got a fridge, but like most people, we are never satisfied. We're always chopping and changing our setups, making it that little bit better. Every time you go out, you see different cars, you pick up different ideas, and so I will bring you to our current setup, and I think it by far is the best setup that we've ever put onto this D-Max here. So behind me here, we have got, in terms of storage, a universal ute tub rack. That there is the bones of this entire storage setup. It's tough. You can see that it's got a Tourer rooftop tent mounted on it, and we've mounted a Tourer X on there as well. And one of my favorite things about these tub racks is just how customizable they are. They really are the building block to help you set up the rear of your ute. You can see down the left-hand side here, we've mounted a shovel and an off-road jack, just on a few custom mounts. Then down the right-hand side, we've got a set of recovery tracks, and they're chained to the tub rack to prevent sticky fingers. And in behind me here is a single 1300 Titan drawer. That's a nice little setup. It's enough room that we can put tools and spares, all that kind of stuff nice and neatly inside the drawer, but it still gives us ability on top of the drawer to run bigger, bulky gear. And we're taking a lot of camera gear away with this, lights, light stands, tripods, that sort of stuff. That often lives on top of the drawer right there. And then nestled down next to that single drawer is a Titan medium fridge slide with one of the new Escape fridges on top. It's not the biggest fridge out there, but it's the perfect size for 2 people for a couple of nights, and that's often what this ute does. 2 of us out bush for a couple of nights, taking photos, shooting videos, living out the back of this ute. Now let's talk the juicy stuff, all the 12-volt off-grid electrical gear that's in the back of the ute. And with this ute, with this setup here, we've gone for a bit of a bigger is better idea. The big thing at the center of all of this is one of those incredible 300 amp King's lithium batteries. This thing is absolutely insane. It's so huge in terms of capacity. In fact, it'll run this fridge here for a couple of weeks without needing charging. But when it comes time to charge it, well, we've got that covered too with a King's 40 amp DC charger. And if you're wondering where I got the bracket to hold down that 300 amp battery, well, it's something that I just knocked up myself in the garage at home. You'll note that I've got some thick pieces of rubber insulation between the battery and the bracket there. That just takes any vibration out of the situation, make sure the battery is firm, in place, and ready to go. Now, Khan will definitely explain this in better detail than I can, but I look at it very simply like big battery needs big charger. King's 300 amp lithium battery, King's 40 amp DC charger. It's the perfect setup, and I don't think I've ever seen that battery go flat. And of course, that's power going into it from the car while you're driving, but when we're camped, up on top, we've got that covered too. 110 watt fixed solar panel running down into that same DC charger. And the beautiful thing about those DC chargers is they do both at once. They will charge off the vehicle and they will charge off solar, and they do it all automatically. It's a really clever little setup here. Now that's power going into the battery. Let's talk power coming out of the battery. So we've got a couple of things that are giving us access to the power in that battery there. There's a 500 watt inverter, there's a compact control box, and there's a touchpad switch panel. And each of those 3 bits of gear then lets us access the power that's in that battery. The inverter is perfect for our camera guys charging all their camera gear at the end of a day of shooting. That touchpad switch panel I've got set up to run the flush mount lights in the back here, just off the button, and also a set of rock lights that I've mounted up under the tub rack there. Both of those just run off the switches, which means that they're perfect camp lights. You pull up at camp, you open up your rooftop tent, you open up your awning, couple of buttons, and the entire campsite is flooded with light. And another clever little upgrade, we have actually hard mounted a ThumperMax dual cylinder air compressor in under this cool little storage compartment that we just built ourselves. We knocked it up out of a bit of plywood and some marine carpet to give you somewhere to mount the battery, somewhere to mount the fridge slide, and hide a few of the electrics. The Thumper's connected directly to the battery, but the on-off switch is now run into the compact control box's on-off switch. So that means when you pull up at the end of a day's fall driving, you need to air your tires back up again, all you do is grab your air hose out, connect it to the Thumper, hit the button on the compact control box, and you've got pressurized air. And then keeping the whole back of the ute nice and dry and clean is a customized soft tonneau cover. It's just a basic one that we picked up and I took down to my local tarp guy, got him to cut and sew around the edges of the ute tub rack's feet, and then you've got a nice little setup there. It's easy to access inside, it looks good, and it keeps everything nice and clean and dry. Hey, just a quick break to bring you a word from this video's sponsor, that's us. Let's say you love the idea of running a fridge and camp lights and all those electrical goodies while you're camping, but you don't want to go to the extent of the 12-volt setup that's in the back of the D-Max. Well, this right here is the answer. The Adventure King's portable lithium power pack in 12 and 24 amp hour sizes. You can run a fridge, LED lights, phones, laptops, in fact, just about anything 12 volt or USB powered off these babies for up to 24 hours between recharges. Want to know more? I've left a link in the description and hooked you up with a cheeky 10% discount code. Now, back to the D-Max. So upstairs, aluminium platform roof rack, that 110 watt fixed solar panel that I mentioned before, and down the left-hand side, the tried, tested, true, and faithful 2x3 meter pull-out awning. As I mentioned earlier, this ute setup needs to carry 2 of us out bush for a couple of days at a time, and that means having the ability for 2 people to camp out of it. That usually means one person's up in the tour rooftop tent and the other person's rolling out their swag underneath the awning. Add in a couple of awning walls and a mesh floor and you've got the perfect camping setup downstairs as well. And without going too deep into each of them, here's my top 5 things I think every single four-wheel drive should have, and we definitely have in there. Number 1, seat covers. We're running the Kings Plus premium seat covers in there. They look great, they're hard wearing, and they're really comfy too. Number 2, a nice heavy duty deep dish set of floor mats. Keeps the inside of the car clean, even with vinyl like we've got here. Every morning on a trip, we just open the doors, pick up the floor mats, shake them out, and then we're ready to go again. Number 3 is the engine data scan, so essential for any modern four-wheel drive. It's actually a fault finding tool. The most common thing we use it for, apart from live telemetry, is being able to read check engine lights and being able to erase them. Now I know what you're going to say, that doesn't fix the problem, but what it does is it gives you the first step in the fault finding process. You write down what the code is, you clear it, and then you see if it comes back again. A lot of the time, it's a false check engine light. Number 4, digital GPS heads-up display. Even with stock tyres, factory speedos are often inaccurate. This works off GPS for precise speed display on your windscreen and guards against accidental speeding fines. And then number 5, this one is cheap insurance. It's a dash cam. Would not have a car without it because there are so many rat bags out on the road cutting you off. That thing is insurance against being hung out to dry. So there you go, a quick look through our D-Max. This thing has been fantastic for us. It's got 140,000 Ks on the clock. The wheels just keep turning on this. In fact, it's pretty rare that it's ever like this and parked up for more than a day at a time. Now, here's my question to you. What's your favorite setup? Would you prefer a fiberglass canopy, an alloy canopy, or a ute tub rack? I'm really keen to hear what you think. Drop a comment below. Hey, and if you're looking for something else to watch, then this right here is a ripper of a video.